Caffeine has long been a staple of modern life, with millions of people worldwide relying on their daily cup of coffee or tea to stay alert and energized. While its effects on cognition and metabolism have been widely studied, new research is uncovering intriguing insights into how caffeine consumption may influence the structure of the human brain. A novel placebo-controlled study has revealed that daily caffeine intake can lead to a measurable reduction in gray matter volume, particularly in regions associated with memory and spatial cognition. These findings add complexity to the ongoing debate over caffeine's effects on brain health, raising new questions about the long-term implications of regular consumption. Gray matter, which consists primarily of neural cell bodies and synapses, plays a crucial role in processing information, memory, decision-making, and overall cognitive function. White matter, on the other hand, is composed of the nerve fibers that connect different regions of the brain, facilitating communication between neurons. Previous studies have suggested that caffeine may influence brain structure in both positive and negative ways, but the specific effects on gray matter volume remained largely unexplored until now. The recent study, conducted on young and healthy individuals, sought to determine whether the structural changes in the brain were linked to caffeine's well-known impact on sleep. Since caffeine is widely recognized as a stimulant that disrupts sleep patterns, researchers hypothesized that any observed reductions in gray matter volume might be a result of sleep deprivation. However, the study's findings contradicted this assumption, revealing that caffeine-induced changes in gray matter occurred independently of sleep quality. To investigate these effects, participants underwent two separate 10-day phases. During one phase, they consumed caffeine tablets, while in the other, they took identical-looking placebo tablets. Brain imaging techniques, including functional magnetic resonance imaging, were used to assess gray matter volume at the end of each phase. Additionally, slow-wave sleep activity, a crucial component of deep sleep associated with cognitive recovery and memory consolidation, was measured using electroencephalography. The results indicated a significant decrease in gray matter volume following the caffeine phase, an effect that was not observed after the placebo phase. Interestingly, despite caffeine's well-documented impact on alertness and sleep latency, there was no significant difference in slow-wave sleep activity between the two conditions. This suggests that the reduction in gray matter volume was not simply a byproduct of sleep disruption but rather a direct consequence of caffeine's influence on brain morphology. One of the most affected regions was the right medial temporal lobe, an area that includes the hippocampus, which is critical for memory formation and spatial navigation. This discovery aligns with earlier animal studies that have shown chronic caffeine consumption can induce molecular changes in the hippocampus, potentially influencing learning and memory processes. The significance of these findings lies in the fact that the hippocampus plays a central role in cognitive function, and any structural alterations could have meaningful implications for memory retention and spatial awareness. Despite the observed reductions in gray matter volume, researchers emphasize that these changes appear to be temporary. Upon cessation of caffeine consumption, gray matter volume was found to recover relatively quickly, suggesting that the brain undergoes a dynamic process of structural adaptation in response to caffeine intake. This raises an important question about whether these fluctuations have any long-term consequences, particularly for individuals who consume caffeine daily for extended periods. Caffeine has long been associated with various neuroprotective benefits, particularly in aging populations. Studies have suggested that regular caffeine intake may reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's by exerting anti-inflammatory effects and promoting the clearance of harmful protein aggregates in the brain. Given these protective properties, the temporary reduction in gray matter volume observed in young and healthy individuals may not necessarily translate to negative cognitive outcomes. The contrasting effects of caffeine on different age groups could be attributed to varying baseline levels of neurodegeneration. In older individuals, caffeine's ability to mitigate cognitive decline may outweigh any structural fluctuations in gray matter. In younger populations with relatively stable brain structure, however, the impact of caffeine on gray matter dynamics may be more pronounced. These differences highlight the need for further research to determine whether the observed changes in gray matter volume influence cognitive performance over time. Beyond its effects on brain structure, caffeine's influence on cognitive function remains a subject of ongoing investigation. While it is well established that caffeine enhances alertness, reaction time, and attention, its long-term effects on memory and learning are less clear. Some studies have reported improved cognitive performance following caffeine consumption, while others have found no significant benefits. The temporary reductions in gray matter volume observed in the recent study add another layer of complexity to this debate, raising the possibility that caffeine-induced structural changes may have both short-term and long-term implications for cognitive function. One possible explanation for caffeine's effect on gray matter is its role in modulating neurotransmitter activity. Caffeine primarily acts by blocking adenosine receptors, which leads to increased wakefulness and alertness. This alteration in neural signaling could trigger adaptive responses in the brain, resulting in transient changes in gray matter volume. If these changes are part of a normal regulatory mechanism, they may not necessarily indicate harm but rather an adaptive process that allows the brain to function optimally under different conditions. While the study provides valuable insights into the structural effects of caffeine on the brain, several questions remain unanswered. It is still unclear whether prolonged caffeine consumption over several years produces cumulative effects on gray matter volume or whether the observed changes stabilize over time. Additionally, the study focused exclusively on young and healthy individuals, leaving open the question of whether similar effects occur in older adults or individuals with pre-existing neurological conditions. Another important consideration is the potential dose-dependent nature of caffeine's effects. The study involved a fixed daily caffeine intake, but real-world consumption varies widely among individuals. Some people consume large quantities of caffeine throughout the day, while others have only a single cup of coffee in the morning. Understanding whether different levels of caffeine intake lead to different degrees of gray matter reduction would be a valuable avenue for future research. Given the widespread consumption of caffeine, these findings underscore the importance of further exploring its long-term impact on brain health. While there is no immediate evidence to suggest that caffeine consumption is harmful, the fact that it induces measurable changes in brain structure warrants continued investigation. If caffeine-induced gray matter fluctuations are shown to have cognitive implications, it may prompt a re-evaluation of recommended caffeine intake levels, particularly for individuals who consume high doses regularly. For now, caffeine remains a widely accepted and generally safe stimulant with numerous cognitive and metabolic benefits. However, as researchers continue to uncover new insights into its effects on brain morphology, consumers may benefit from a more nuanced understanding of how their daily coffee habits influence brain function. Whether these structural changes translate to meaningful cognitive differences remains to be seen, but the findings add an intriguing dimension to the ongoing discussion surrounding caffeine and brain health. As scientific exploration into the effects of caffeine continues, it becomes increasingly clear that its relationship with the brain is complex. While caffeine's stimulating properties make it a valuable tool for enhancing focus and alertness, its impact on brain structure presents a new frontier for research. The observed gray matter reductions, though temporary, highlight the dynamic nature of the brain and its ability to adapt to external influences. Future studies will need to explore whether these changes affect cognitive function in meaningful ways and whether caffeine's long-term impact varies based on factors such as age, genetics, and overall health. Until then, coffee drinkers can continue to enjoy their favorite beverage with the reassurance that, while caffeine may momentarily alter brain structure, its broader cognitive effects remain an open question. So, what does this all mean for your daily cup of coffee? While caffeine might temporarily shrink gray matter in the brain, there's no clear evidence that this leads to cognitive decline. In fact, caffeine has been linked to neuroprotective benefits, especially in aging populations. But it does raise an interesting question: how does long-term caffeine use shape our brains over time? If you're a regular coffee drinker, there's no need to panic, but it's always good to stay informed about what you're putting into your body. Should we rethink our daily caffeine habits, or is this just another example of how adaptable our brains really are? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more science-backed content. Thanks for watching.